Coin price forecast predicts Tesla stock could soon be over $600 by 2024, and certainly there's a lot of news that would support that. If you look at the recent price action with Tesla, while it has been strong and it has been great for shareholders, we're far off of our all-time high. In fact, the last time we were at these levels was when Elon was buying Twitter. And last time we were here, Tesla stock surged to over $300 per share. And there is a lot of good news recently. There's more good news than you can almost keep up with. So we're going to give you the latest on what is happening today. Recently, the Tesla Plaid just broke an all-time record on a racing track in Germany. This is leading to that certain edition of Tesla Plaids to now be sold out. And on top of that, there's a lot of other good news that is coming out today. So let's just dive into it. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you want to stay up to date with everything going on with Tesla as well as the broad markets, because markets are not exactly doing well today. But Tesla is up 2.5%. Let's get into it. So Tesla stock has seen a lot of good news recently, and the buyers are out. People are buying the stock. People are buying calls on Tesla. The option activity today, $86 million worth of options, 64% positive order value. And if you look at some of the expirations, you're seeing upwards of 70% of the total option activity for the day today being to the call side. So there is a lot of call buyers with Tesla right now. And this makes sense given what we're going to talk about here in this video. Number one, this is kind of news that we already know, but it's having a lasting effect on Tesla. The new Twitter CEO started her job early, and this is really one of those things that is unmeasurable, but it certainly affected Tesla stock negatively in 2022 because people are like, hey, how are you going to run SpaceX, Tesla, Twitter, the Boring Company, all these Neuralink? How are you going to do that? Especially if it looks like you're spending more time at Twitter. People wanted to see Elon spending his time, or a majority of his time, at Tesla. And it looks like that is actually happening now. At least that's what Elon even said at the shareholder meeting, on top of a lot of other things. Now, one of the biggest developments today is that Elon Musk discussed a possible Mongolia expansion with the country's prime minister. Now, it says, quote, they discussed the possibility of welcoming Tesla to Mongolia for its electric vehicle battery factory, leveraging the country's wide availability of copper and rare earth elements, which are essential components of electric car batteries, according to the statement. They spoke about bringing Starlink, a satellite communication terminal and service provider operated by Elon Musk founded SpaceX, to Mongolia. Now, why I think this is a positive is pretty straightforward. Any expansion of Tesla's business is going to be positive, but Magnolia specifically, if they have a lot of these materials, a lot of things to produce electric vehicles, I mean, there's only so much of these materials out there. Tesla, if they want to solidify their long-term business, they need to get some of these early partnerships. And I think that's exactly how Elon is thinking about this. And that's what he's trying to do. On top of that, I'm sure it's cheaper to employ Mongolia. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Okay. Let me just be real. Mongolia's population, it's probably cheaper to employ them to work at a Tesla factory than Americans or people in Germany. Right, so it's probably cheaper materials, cheaper labor, probably cheaper everything. And this is definitely going to be a positive, and it is having a positive effect, I would imagine, on Tesla's stock here today. Another thing that is really helping Tesla recently is that the Model S Plaid track package, which this is kind of better brakes, this is better tires, this is more efficiency, right, to be a very fast vehicle. This vehicle has a top speed of 200 miles per hour. It just set the track in, I'm not even going to try to say that. Looks like Germany. On June 2nd, a lap time of 7 minutes 25 seconds. And it looks like this specific model that set this record is now sold out, and that's a positive thing, right? That's indicating good demand for Teslas, and especially when you start breaking records and 200 mile per hour Teslas, that's going to be a positive thing. I think we can all agree to that. Now, this happened yesterday as well. Tesla stock started to for the full EV tax credit. Tesla really had to do some maneuvering with the supply chain to make this happen. And this is just going to be better demand. I don't personally think it's going to be a massive deal, because I think people, they're going to buy a Tesla regardless, essentially. But it is having a positive impact on Tesla's share price. Now, this one's pretty interesting. Someone asked ChatGPT where Tesla's stock price would be by the end of 2023. And obviously, if you've used ChatGPT, you already know they're not going to give you an actual number here. They're going to say we cannot forecast where the stock's going to be, blah, blah, blah. They're not going to give you a real answer. Now, it did lay out steps that could drive the stock higher, which are pretty straightforward, like CEO influence, the past performance, financial performance and growth, and demand for electric vehicles. These things we kind of already know about. Now, with the other AI predictions, Google's AI bot was more specific, estimating that Tesla shares will trade between 200 and 300 per share by the end of this year. Bard said its prediction is based on Tesla being well positioned to continue to grow its sales and earnings, while risks to its share price remain manageable. Meanwhile, the estimates offered by Coin Price Forecast, the finance prediction platform that utilizes machine self-learning technology, were significantly more bullish. The platform expects Tesla's price to hit 365 by the end of 2023, implying a strong upside of 65% compared to current price levels. Now let's take a look at this chart. By mid-year, so around where we currently are, it's predicted Tesla share price will be $304. By year end, $365. Next year, mid-year 2024, estimated share price of $475. That would be a new all-time high for Tesla. And by year end next year, you could be seeing $582 per share. And then it ramps up by 2034 to $1,700 per share. Now, I think this is interesting, because if you look at Tesla stock and you actually look at it from a charting point of view and from a technical basis, I mean, look at what has happened to Tesla. Just take a look. It's basically been a downtrend, right? And Tesla actually just broke today its longer term downtrend. And in fact, you are still above that right now. Tesla would have to stay roughly at the same price it is now, above 225 by the end of the day, to break this longer term downtrend. Now, if you look at what happened to the markets in August of 2022, the broad markets kind of rallied. It wasn't just a few names that did very well. It was most of the markets that did well during this time. This was before Jackson Hole in 2022. This was kind of a point in time people started to expect maybe inflation will fall quicker, or maybe it'll come down. Maybe we can avoid a recession, things of that nature. Tesla stock, last time it was at these prices during this cycle in 2022, this was the lower end range. And what happened from this lower end range? Tesla actually rallied up to $315 per share. So if this cycle that we're currently in repeats what happened in the August 2022 cycle, you could be targeting over $300 per share pretty soon. That would be upside of about 40% from here. And Tesla actually did this move in about 3 weeks in August. So it was pretty aggressive to the upside. And Tesla, I mean, just fundamentals, just technically speaking, above your 200-day moving average, above this longer-term downtrend. Volume has been healthy. The RSI is overbought a little bit, so it wouldn't surprise me to trade sideways for a few days. And the MACD is bullish, but it's not as bullish as we have been before. So there certainly is room to continue with this upside move. Not to mention, if you look at the short positions on Tesla, they're getting absolutely blown out. This is the highest amount of short positions on a dollar basis in Tesla stock in well over a year. 1 year ago to the day, you had about 19 billion worth of short positions on Tesla. Today, you have 22.5 billion in short positions currently on Tesla. This is all losses, about 15 billion in short positions to where we are now. So short sellers are down about $7 billion on their short positions or more. This is just a rough estimate for 2023. And most of this rally that you have seen has not been because shorts have actually covered on short positions. It's been actually due to a lot of good news. So if you do start to see shorts actually covering, that's going to turn into a very bullish event for Tesla stock. And I think that's where you could start to approach 300 or even 350 by the end of this year. Ultimately, you guys know, if you watch this channel, that the thing that I am most bullish about when it comes down to Tesla stock is advertising. Advertising is going to be massive for Tesla if you just consider what Tesla's been able to do without advertising. Now think about when they actually do advertise and the general population knows about Tesla. In fact, most Tesla owners are 45 to 55 years old, and they are wealthier Americans, whereas Teslas are actually cheaper than your average car in America, and they're a lot safer, and their technology is a lot better, and the costs to operate them are a lot cheaper, and they're just a lot more powerful. There's so many good things you could say about Teslas, but if you ask someone that you know that doesn't necessarily know someone with a Tesla or isn't that involved with investing or anything like that, they're not going to have a clue of anything I just said. So advertising will be massive, and that's ultimately what sends Tesla's order book skyrocketing. And that's what makes their apparent demand problem turn into a production problem, at least in my personal opinion. Now, something else that I think is positive for Tesla, will be a positive over the next couple of weeks here, is the fact that the average price target on Tesla is $189. The stock is at $225. So analysts will have to raise their price targets, as most analysts do. They raise them when the stock is going higher, and they lower them when the stock is going lower. And there's a big disconnect with where the average price target is and where Tesla's stock is. And ultimately, Tesla's going to go higher. So I think when you get those price target increases, as it typically does happen, the stock price itself will go up in reflect of that. So I think that's a positive tailwind that is still to come. Now, don't just look at Tesla and say, hey, the stock's up about 2% today, the markets are doing well. Not really. Technology is falling in the QQQ, the NASDAQ 100, 1.11% here today. The S&P is only down 0.15%, but the NASDAQ is really getting hit hard today, and that is really because Canada, they did an unexpected rate hike to 4.75%. They had previously paused like the last two meetings. Kind of what the markets currently are expecting from our Fed, from Fed Powell, is to pause June 14th and then to raise rates in July. But ultimately, every time the Fed has paused in the history, they've ended up cutting 3 to 6 months later. And that would align with where the markets are currently expecting the first rate cut, which would be September. If the Fed pauses in June, to get a cut by September would be 3 months, or even October or November. That would be more so 5-6 months down the line. So what you're getting from Bank of Canada here doesn't look encouraging for a Fed pause, and especially not a Fed rate cut. So we'll see what happens. That's negatively affecting technology here today, but not really any other bad news that's coming out that would justify a 1% down move in the NASDAQ. It looks like this is all based off of the Bank of Canada, guys. So that is going to do it here in this video. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.